I have a huge gravitation towards the idea of a cycle. I love comparing different pieces in a cycle. Would that be a cycle of sonatas? Would that be a cycle of etudes or bagatelles of different pieces? I always feel it is not enough to know one piece in a cycle, even if you intend to play one piece. I always make a reference for myself, kind of learning things around. Would that be even pieces of the same cycle or pieces that were written in the same time and things like that? And originally, I learned the set of 12 transcendental etudes, which I played quite a bit ago, and it was definitely a big journey for me. I built it up gradually. I first played, I think, Mazeppa Ricordanza in Eroica was my first set. And then I was building around that. I remember the first time I played the whole cycle, I realized it is much easier to play them as a part of the cycle than walk on stage and play one, because you're getting so much in your head when you're playing just one. You start exaggerating all the details. Artistically, it's much more beneficial to play these etudes as a cycle. At a certain point, my professor, Santiago Rodriguez, when I went to study with him in Miami, he's like, "Oh, you play transcendental etudes. You should learn Paganini's and play Paganini's too in the same concert." And I thought, the man is crazy. This is ridiculous. But then I started thinking, oh well, it's so cool that Chopin has 24 etudes. Everything is in sets of 24. And then I was like, wait a second. There's 6 Paganinis, and then 3 concert etudes and 2 concert etudes, and this one etude that nobody plays. And when actually Daniel Trifonov issued his CD of complete Liszt etudes, he did not record that one, and I was very mad at him. The etude is called Ab Erato, and it's a piece that stands on its own. It's very unusual in shape. It's very cool and very wild. But several years ago, I thought, I may try and play this. And not only was that interesting for me from artistic standpoint, but also just like a personal milestone, an ability to challenge yourself to the highest degree. And I remember I was learning the rest of the etudes. I learned Paganini's, and then I played 1 or 2 concert etudes before, and then I had to learn the rest of them. And I remember when I did my first ever run through of all the 24 of them. And the way I pace them is because transcendental etudes, it's such a building and it dies. Like you get to the high point of Will Diag. And then everything emotionally kind of dies until the chasnèche dies away. And so putting that at the end of the program is not beneficial because it dissolves. So I thought I will play transcendentals as the first half and longer half and more demanding half. And then the second half I will play 2 concert etudes, then 3 concert etudes, Ab Erato, and then the Paganini's with that A minor massive etude, finishing the cycle. And I remember I played my first run through of these pieces. I finished and I could not feel my back at all. My entire neck and shoulders and everything went to this like continuous cramp of just this insane tiredness. And I invited a couple of my friends to listen to me, so I ran it to them. And we walked out and went for dinner and we ordered food, and then I realized I cannot actually turn anyway. And I was like, oh no, what have I done? And I was supposed to play a recital of the whole of them, or the whole cycle in like 10 days. I went home, I took a bath with Epsom, 2 bags of Epsom salt. I slept in. I woke up the next day. I took it very, very cool. I did not practice the next day. Took another Epsom salt bath. The next day I woke up, felt kind of okay. Practiced very calmly, very slowly. And then the next day after that, I did the run through again. Did not feel anything. So the main story for me telling you these details is our body is more amazing than we think. Our body is capable of adjusting to insane things quite fast. And that difference of 3 days where I do something and it sends my body to a complete catatonic state, and then the 3 days afterwards, I remember what it was. So I made my choices running through differently. I was more aware of my body. I was relaxing whenever I could. That's how I actually came with the idea of, okay, this is reset. This is reset. I'm resting here. I'm resting here. I inserted all sorts of mental rests for myself. And then I never had any physical draining or cramps or injuring myself up to this extent ever since. To me, this A major chord is sort of a reset. I mentally reset myself thinking, I'm done with that section. I'm gonna sort of shake it out. I'm gonna put my hands here in a really relaxed way, and the more relaxed in the shoulders, in the arms, in the elbows, but focused in your fingertips up, the bigger your sound will be. You don't need to be applying a lot of strength and a lot of effort to get big sound. If you just throw the natural weight of your fingers supported by your fingertips and release it. When you release it, you have this little rest. That little rest is just an 8th rest, but it's a very important 8th rest. It has been an incredible decision in my life to do that, because after I played this program several times, I realized basically everything else in my repertoire became easy. So whatever else, it sounds ridiculous, but playing, for example, Appassionato is just oh. Physically, it's a walk in the park compared to playing this program. So it has been a physical challenge. It has been a benefit, physical, but at the same time, an ability to play 24 pieces straight, where each of them are exciting, each of them has bravura and big moments, and making them different enough to make that interesting. And I was just I'm going in the hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes, I'm just banging on the piano, avoiding that and making that into something very mysterious for myself and for the listener was basically the whole point. I learned Campanella after many of the other etudes. It was one of the last etudes for me to add on the program. It so happened that I did not grow up playing it. It was a most recent addition to the collection. And so I came to this etude with experience of playing many other etudes, and it was good because I was able to employ other ideas and drills and knowledge that I acquired while working on other etudes to that, which was very helpful for me. But at the same time, it was amazing for me to recognize it as, in general, sad piece. To me, there's this hint of sorrow in it, and I really like to underline it when I perform it. I really like to bring it up. There's certain poetic side of it and an ability to abstract yourself from necessarily physical tasks and put yourself into this mode of how do I bring this very, very transparent sense of sorrow out is something very pleasant, something that I really, really enjoy. It feels good to play this piece and to get to know it from inside. It is definitely a very beneficial experience, comparing what you used to hear for years from different stars. And of course, I also grew up listening to different people amazingly playing this etude. But to get your own hands on that and feel every note of it and internalize the text of it, and probably finding something special and something probably personal. Finding ways to make it sound like you and like your own mindset is very, very rewarding. You're not trying to copy anybody else. You're trying to find your own place in this music and how it speaks to yourself.